We are live. You can go ahead and start.
Oh, well, welcome everybody to our August meeting of the Canyon Democrats. We're on Zoom and we're also on YouTube. So let me just tell you that I experienced an electrical outage yesterday. So if that happens, I will try to get back on using my battery, but just hang in there with us. If we have that technical difficulty, we will try to solve it, okay? Tonight, we're using Zoom, and if you want to ask questions of the speakers, please use the chat function. You click on that and a screen will open up on the right-hand side and you can type in your question. And then Annie and Rachel will be able to see it. And when we have our speakers, then they'll curate those questions and ask them. So please use that, okay? So the first thing is the Pledge of Allegiance. So we pledge allegiance to the flag and to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we have these awful numbers again. And I was just absolutely shocked when I wrote in the numbers for how many people have died, 801 in Orange County. And the number of cases is almost reaching 44,000. And it was a big jump from the last month. Okay, so here is our agenda. And on the left-hand side, it was sent out in advance to you for the, as a link. When you signed up, you could click on it and review the agenda and the attachments. So we do something here in the club called a consent list. And what we do is we put all the funky business that has to get done by a club on that list. And unless somebody wants to have a discussion about it, we vote on it all at once. So you can go in the chat and you can tell us if you want to pull something off of the consent list. The items on the agenda that have the boxes with the check mark are on the consent list. And I will introduce the two new business items. So one of the new business items is a support of Beth Schwartz and John Christopoulos for the Rancho Santa Margarita City Council. And I'll show you information about them in a minute. The second item is a motion to revise our bylaws. The Democratic Party of Orange County has agreed that a representative from the club, an associate member they call it, will be able to vote on endorsements. The first time anybody except the small group of people who are elected to the Central Committee to vote. So we have to amend our laws in the way we have defined what we have to do in order to be eligible. So this is not something where we can really read it and say, well, why don't you put this word here or that word there? Because this is what the Central Committee wants in order for me to be able to vote. Okay, the person who goes and exercises that vote has to be an elected member of the board. So I just am doing it for now, okay? So let me tell you a little bit about these two candidates. One of them is Beth Schwartz. She's a public health nurse for the County of Orange and works on the COVID team at working with homeless. She also instructs nursing and public health students in an RN and a master's in public health program at Azusa Pacific. And she's a former minister. John Christopoulos also lives in Rancho Santa Margarita. He's been on their planning commission for 5 years. He's volunteered with the Boy Scouts. He's volunteered with the high school ASB and with Tesoro Song. And he works as a chief information officer in the financial services industry. Okay. Both of these individuals were interviewed by members of the board on a Zoom, and everybody there voted to recommend them to the membership. So now I'm going to go back to the agenda, and we need to take a vote. So Rachel, did you set up a poll for this? I don't know.
Everybody should see now an option to adopt the consent items completely.
Okay. Can you look in the chat and see if anybody wanted to pull any of these?
I don't see anybody.
Okay. So would you, I don't get to vote. I don't see the poll.
Sorry.
So that's okay. So please go ahead, and it's green for yes and red for no, I think, right, Rachel?
It's just yes or no.
Yes or no. Vote yes or no, and let's get it done, okay? Everybody vote. Okay, so how are we doing, Rachel? Do we have any negative votes here?
No, everybody 100% for, 24 yes. So.
Yay, we have now done all of the business of the club, including we had voted on our adjournment. So we don't have to do any more voting tonight. Thank you. Okay, so we did our business, we did our poll, we're done with that. One important thing for me as the chair is we have been thinking a lot about the problems of voting this time and the problems with the post office. And so we put together this flyer, which is now on our website somewhere, I think, Rachel, or it will be. And so we're asking all of you who are activist Democrats to become informed about voting and all the procedures so that you can talk to your friends and neighbors, and there's links there. The links on our website are really good. You just go to the top and it says voting, and it has all kinds of information. Every single voter, we need to be sure everybody's registered to vote, of course, by October 5th. So there's a link there in case somebody doesn't know, isn't registered to vote. And there's also links on our website where people can check their voter registration to make sure it's current. Everybody's going to get a ballot mailed to their house. Boom, what our president, it's all arranged. And it's really interesting because Neil Kelly, our wonderful registrar of voters, who happens to be a Republican, has taken care of all of this for us, okay? But it is very critical that everybody fills out the ballot when they get it. We're going to start getting ballots around October 5th. We're going to press everybody, please mark the ballot. Start at the bottom, vote for the local offices, and then go up to the top, put it in the envelope, sign it, and take it to the yellow box. Why the yellow box? Because it doesn't go through the post office. It goes directly to the registrar of voters. They have their own people who drive up, 2 of them, and empty the box and take it up to the registrar of voters, okay? So it's really important that we school all of our friends and neighbors about the yellow boxes, okay? And then starting on October 28th, which is a little later, the vote centers will open. And there is a link on our website right now to a map that shows where all the boxes are and where the vote centers will be, okay? So those vote centers, if people lost their ballot, they go there, they get a new ballot. If they didn't register to vote by the deadline, they can go there, register the day they go there, and they can vote on the same day, okay, which is really new, okay? If they're handicapped, they can get assistance, okay? So we all need to be preaching this, and every piece of paper, every message that comes out from the club is going to say vote early. We just have to really push that. So thank you for being informed. And if you have any questions at all, you can email me. I'll get you whatever you need. So one of the problems we've had is that we're not opening an office. We raised money to open the office. We were so looking forward to it because COVID would be over, right, by now. And we would all get to be in that office together and give each other hugs and say hi. And we can't do it. and we know who's to blame for that. It's that man with the yellow hair, right? But it is what it is. So we decided we're going to have a virtual campaign office. So we skipped one. It skipped one. Okay, so I had pictures of the virtual campaign office last time, which I thought you'd all like to see, but for some reason it kicked them out. So we're going to have weekly Zoom meetings for the campaign office. It's kind of informal. We're going to open up to club members and to candidates and to campaign managers from all the candidates that we support. We will describe on there at the meeting what it is that the club is doing. We will hear from members of the club who have suggestions or questions and want to volunteer. And we'll give the candidates campaigns a chance to tell us what they need and to ask for help. And it'll be a place where we can coordinate things. So this is the schedule for these meetings. They're going to start on the 24th of August. And that last week in August, we also have a town hall with Mike Levin, which will be advertised, our great communications team. And then in September, we're going to hold 2 in 1 week because one of our members suggested that we do one in the evening for people who might not be able to come during the day because they're working. So it's at 10:30 because that works for the people on the field team. And we want all of them there because they're the ones who know the most about the outreach to the voters. Okay. And also we have Katie Porter on the 1st of September. Okay. So we're going to have Mike and Katie separate times. We couldn't work in a meeting. And then in October, voter home ballots begin to arrive on the 5th. And then we're going to have 2 virtual campaign meetings. And then there's election day. But remember, we're not really stressing November 3rd. Why? Because we want everybody to have voted like the first week in October. When we vote early, all those ballots get to the registrar's office. They have time to look at the signature on the envelope and compare it to your voter registration signature or your driver's license signature. They know it's valid. They open them up. They get them all ready to process. They stack them election day. They stack them on the counting machines. And at 8:01, they push go. So all of those early votes come in first. And we want to really swamp with Democratic votes, those early votes. So there's no question that Trump is going to get on the phone that night or get on TV at 12 o'clock and say, oh, well, see, it's really close. We don't want it to be close. No, no, no. Okay, so here's an agenda for the meeting. We'll talk about how Zoom works for people who are not used to it. Everybody go around and introduce themselves. We'll have a description of all the activities we're doing. We'll have questions, suggestions, and reports from the campaigns. What's the next steps? And we'll ask each person to tell us what they're doing to help with the election. And then we'll have some visiting time afterward, where if people just want to stay on and chat, okay? So the idea is to use these virtual campaign meetings on Zoom to replace some of what we used to do in the regular campaign office, okay? So committee report, Faye, do you want to report on the field team? And then we'll have our speakers.
Okay, thanks, Louise. Yeah, so we've got some things going on right now. We've got a phone bank is still open. We're calling Laguna Hills residents, Democrats, to talk to them, to see how they're doing, basically with the pandemic. But we're also calling them to really stress the ballot issues and to make sure that everyone votes early, votes from home, uses the drop box. So we still need folks to help out with that. We've had several people making phone calls. Thank you to everyone who picked up the phone and made any kind of phone calls for us. We finished Mission Viejo phone bank last month, and now we're churning our way through Laguna Hills. We're, as of today, we're 56% done. We've contacted 1,085 voters, and beyond just being able to contact and have conversations with our voters, we were also able to identify 121 disconnected phone numbers and 41 wrong numbers. So that helps us clean up the database so that when we start spending money to do texting and more database-driven activities, we're going to have a much cleaner list to work with. We won't be wasting our money on bad phone numbers. So there's a twofold kind of objective here with the phone banks, and the conversations we've had have been really good. People are actually really happy to talk to us, and we've had some great conversations. We've had some fun with it. So if you want to sign up, just go to the website, and on the scroll that goes across the top, you'll see the phone bank, and that's open. So Louise, next one on that.
There's
texting. This is Annie's project, and we are planning to do several texting campaigns. This is something that's new for us. We've been getting our feet wet slowly a little bit with the primary, and we did a campaign in July to encourage folks to join us at our July meeting for the speaker. Annie's put together a really good program. It's a little bit still in development because things are changing so fast, especially with the post office situations. So we are targeting Democrats and voters in all of our precincts, and we're trying to drive traffic to the Canyon Dems website because of the links that we have, the helpful links to the voter registration and check your ballot status, track your ballot. All those kind of things are provided for us by the comms team on the website. And so we want to have one-stop shopping for our voters. So we're getting the message out. Annie is putting together the next program, which will be late in August. And then we'll have more programs September and October running right up to the final day of the election. And Judy Fike, has been doing our voter registration for us for some time now. And she's been really working really hard with some of the schools and colleges to encourage voter registration programs and things of that nature. And on the side, because we're not holding voter registration events right now, Judy's also getting in deep with it with Annie on texting to give Annie a hand. So that's pretty much our texting. We've also got a couple of little postcard events going on. Sarah's not here tonight, but we have so far written 1,550 postcards for Laguna Hills voters. We've got Ed Wong, who's running for the school board in that area, and we're trying to get the word out to the voters there. Folks are still working on cards. We have a few Laguna Hills cards left, and we've added some precincts in Foothill Ranch. So if you want to sign up for this little postcarding event, this is one where you provide the creativity, we'll give you the supplies, you help us out with stamps, and Sarah will do a safe, porch door drop type of delivery with the cards so that it's no contact. Just go to the website, it's on the scroll. Go ahead and sign up, and just pick any day. There's a couple of days listed, just pick any day, and you'll get a confirmation, and then she'll contact you about the cards. Now, we have some other things coming up with postcards. There are, we usually folks that have been around a while know we do a candidate sheet that is usually dropped at the door. Unfortunately, we're just not there yet with door drops. And there's a few things with the candidates yet that are a little beyond our control. So bear with us. We will have a large postcarding event coming up probably after the
when
first.
She says large, she means around 5,000.
Yes, 5,000. And we will have a short time frame to get those cards written. It's just going to be a very short get out the vote message. The card will have our whole list of every Democratic candidate we've got in our area that we're supporting and that's endorsed will be on that card. And on the back, we want you to write a real short please get out the vote, vote early, use the drop boxes. We want to get that message out, and then we'll address them. And we do have postage in the budget for that project. So we will really need help with writing and addressing those cards. So keep an eye out. This is the last meeting before we're actually going to launch that project. So keep an eye on the website, and we'll make sure that the communications team puts it in the newsletter when we're ready to go, so that everybody knows about it, because we will need some help on it. And then we will mail those letters probably the first week in October, right around the time the ballots are arriving in mailboxes. So we've got some good stuff coming up. You just got to bear with us until we get there.
Okay, so Annie, do you want to introduce our speakers?
Yes. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. And before tonight's program starts, I just want to let you know about some of our upcoming events. On Thursday, August 27th at 6:30, we have a town hall with Mike Levin. On Tuesday, September 1st, we have a town hall with Katie Porter at 7 o'clock. Please join us before Katie comes on for an informal social time that starts at 6:30. On September 15th, which is our general meeting, 4 weeks from tonight, we have Ed Wong. He's a candidate for re-election to the Saddleback Valley Unified School District Board of Education. Pauline Hale, candidate for the Mission Viejo City Council. We have an education update from our own Barbara Shulman. She's a board member of the Saddleback Valley Unified School District. Tonight we welcome State Senate candidate Dave Min and State Assembly candidates Melissa Fox and Scott Rhinehart. Dave is a candidate for the 37th California State Senate District. He's running against Republican incumbent John Moorlach in the general election. Melissa is a candidate for the 68th California State Assembly District. She's running against Republican Steven Choi in the general election. And Scott's a candidate for the 75th California State Assembly District, 73rd. He's running against Republican Laurie Davies in the general election. So tonight, we'll first hear from Dave Min, followed by Melissa, then Scott. Each candidate will have 15 minutes to talk, and that includes time for questions. So please enter your questions in the chat. And Dave, the screen's all yours.
Thank you very much, Canyon Democrats. It's really great to see so many friends, old and new. And it looks like people are healthy and staying well during this time when it's honestly very difficult. And I know there's a lot of stress out there from being self-quarantined, from what's happening to this country at a federal level, what we see around Orange County. I know it can be very frustrating. So looks, at least from the Brady Bunch screen in front of me, that you all are looking fairly well. It is nice to see some new hairstyles too. For what it's worth, my wife has been cutting my hair, and I think she's been doing a pretty good job. So obviously tonight we are going up head to head with the Democratic National Committee Convention. And that is, of course, where all of our focus is right now. It's on stopping Donald Trump, his assaults on our democratic institutions, on our rule of law. It's on taking back the White House, on taking back the United States Senate, holding the House, and reversing the damage that Donald Trump has done to this country over the last several years. But I think we have to also start thinking about what it will look like beyond Donald Trump. We obviously have to work our tails off to make sure we win this election at the federal level. We saw what happened in 2016 when we took things for granted. But if we simply win back the White House and the Senate and we sit on our laurels, we will be doing ourselves an immense disservice. We have a long fight ahead of us, and that's the message I want to emphasize. Donald Trump has been running for president for the last 20 years. It was only in 2016 that he was able to actually win, and that's because our country had evolved or devolved to a point where too many people felt like rolling the dice with him, felt like his siren song, or as he's been called, a snake oil salesman pitch, finally appealed to Americans because this country really has gone off on the wrong track, in my view. Too many people no longer believe that the American dream exists. They don't believe this country offers economic mobility or justice, social fairness, racial justice. We have a very short window of time to try to rectify those wrongs. I graduated from law school at the same time as a guy named Tom Cotton. Many of you probably know that name. He is the junior senator from Arkansas. He is notorious for having written an op-ed in the New York Times recently calling for paratroopers to be flown into major cities to violently quell the Black Lives Matter protests. He compared the peaceful protesters in Portland to the insurrectionists who started the Civil War on the side of the South. He described slavery as a necessary evil. Tom Cotton is every bit as extreme as Donald Trump. He has every bit the contempt for our Constitution and our rule of law as Donald Trump. But he is much more buttoned up. He's not as erratic. He doesn't have the baggage. And if Tom Cotton gets elected, that will be the end of this country. And if we don't start fixing our problems, Tom Cotton or someone like him will be elected in the next 8, 12 years, maybe 4 years. For me, this is very personal. I think for all of us, this is personal. But my parents came to this country in search of a better life because of what this country represented. We have to fight to reclaim our values, to restore the American dream, to make people believe this country is special again, to restore the things that made this country what it is. We have our work cut out for us. So California, in my view, what Melissa, what Scott, what Cotty, and myself are hopefully going to be doing next year is helping to lead this state on the right track through the challenges of COVID, which are going to be immense, then leading on economic fairness, on climate, on education, on infrastructure. We've got a long ways to go. So the mantra of my campaign has become defined by a saying from the Greeks. A number of you heard me say, but it really does define it. So I will say it again. A civilization is great when its elders plant trees whose shade they know they'll never sit in. And to me, that is the ethos that made this country the exceptional beacon that it was for so long. We got away from that in recent years. We've got to get that back. We've got to start investing in our future. We've got to repair our infrastructure, invest in a 21st century infrastructure. We have to invest in education. We have to fight the battles of climate change and other long-term challenges that we're facing. And we have to do this while facing immense headwinds. We have an ignorant population right now that is being misinformed by basically propaganda news. We have a abandoned infrastructure. We have severe budget deficits that are going to hobble us. And of course, we have COVID-19 facing us for the foreseeable future. But I can imagine a day down the line when my kids are my age, when we'll all be looking back at this era as an anomaly. Donald Trump, how did you ever elect Donald Trump? How were you guys so stupid as to elect Donald Trump? That's the conversation I can imagine us happening, but that can only happen if California leads the way. So with that, I wanted to briefly talk about the state of our race before getting into your questions, and I'd love to take your questions. So I wanted to share a few slides here. And the first slide that I wanted to share was a slide that many of you probably are a little embarrassed to admit that you don't know, but let's see here. It's what does the state Senate do? And it's okay if you don't know the answer to this. A lot of people don't. The answer is found in the 10th Amendment. So this is a little bit schoolhouse rock. But what the 10th Amendment basically says is that anything that is not preempted by the federal government and is also permitted under the US Constitution can fall within the purview of state jurisdictions. So what that means effectively is that we can do a lot. The only areas that the state doesn't directly impact are immigration and foreign policy. We have primary jurisdiction over a number of areas, including education, housing, criminal law, public safety, a number of other issues. In California, of course, we've taken the lead on a number of issues where we have shared jurisdiction with the federal government, notably environmental protection, where we continue to lead the country, on internet policy, including net neutrality and privacy rights, LGBTQ+ rights, reproductive rights, gun violence prevention, among others. Now, last year, the budget of California, this is the lower left, was about $320 billion. About $210 billion of that came from state tax revenues. The other 110 billion or so came from bonds and from federal grants to the states. So it's not obviously as large as the federal government's budget, but it's sizable nonetheless, and we have a broad purview. Many of the things that you experience in your life are really a matter of state law. Now, SD 37, a lot of people don't know, is a massive district, much larger than the congressional district. So we stretch up north to the 91. We stretch out east to a good part of the Canyon area and Lake Forest. We head out west to Huntington Beach. We basically have almost all of Katie Porter's district except Mission Viejo. And then we add on Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, Costa, Mesa, and about half of Huntington Beach, as well as all of Orange onto that as well. This district is demographically almost identical to CA 45, where many of you live. It is about 55% white, 45% non-white. Most of that non-white population is split roughly equally between Asian Americans and Latinos. 58% of this population has attended college. Now, importantly, the partisan breakdown here, as is the case across Orange County, has shrunk dramatically since the time that we've all been running. So in the last year and a half, it's shrunk from out of a 4.5% Republican advantage to now being just about 0.6% Republican advantage. And of course, those NPPs are sizable and are leaning heavily Democrat. So my race was recently re-rated from being a toss-up to lean Democratic. We are officially the favorites right now to beat John Moorlach, thanks to your efforts. I just want to point out something. We've got some great races here. You guys know this. Now, it's going to be a nail-biter in a lot of these, including mine. But we have Orange County, once again, is going to be the center of the action. So my seat is seen as the top red to blue race in California. As Scott Lay, the leading political analyst in California, has stated, SD 37 is the most likely of the targeted seats to flip in November. It is a top priority for the state Senate Democrats, along with, just to the north of us, Josh Newman running in SD 29 in that Fullerton area. Of course, we know that our congressional representatives are all top defensive priorities for the DCCC. Gil Cisneros, our own Katie Porter, and Harley Ruda. And then we've got a number of assembly seats that are really seen as top priorities as well. So in my district, we embody AD 74, which is the top priority for defending for the Assembly Dems. AD 68 with Melissa Fox running against the incumbent Steven Choi, as she can describe, is one of the top pickup priorities. I know Scott Rhinehart, where a lot of you live, is seen as a top priority. And then, of course, we have Deidre Tuhan Nguyen just up in that Garden Grove area, also a top pickup. All that's a long way of saying there's going to be a lot of action here, even if it's all virtual. You're going to see a lot of mail, a lot of TV, a lot of digital ads, and a lot of field people coming down here to try to help harness our grassroots energy, what you guys are doing, and coordinate our campaigns with your energy and activism. So I want to thank you in advance for what you're going to do for us going forward. Now, one of the reasons my race is seen as such a top priority and the top red to blue race is because of our performance in the primary, which matches what we've seen in all the polls. Between myself and the one other Democrat in our primary, Mayor Katrina Foley of Costa Mesa, Democrats took 52.7% of the primary vote. This was a 50% turnout election. We're expecting even conservatively 65, 70% in a presidential year, and it might be much higher than that. And of course, that added turnout tends to favor Democrats. So our floor right now is very high. And this is the best we've ever done as Democrats in Senate District 37. It was also the best result in any Republican-held seat across the state in this primary cycle. What this bottom chart shows you, though, is we've got some work to do. We picked up all of our margin plus some in Irvine. So Democratic net margin was about 15,000 votes. 19,000 of those votes came from Irvine, so more than our margin. We lost big in Newport Beach and Huntington Beach and in Anaheim Hills. We've got to do better. We've got to do better in the Canyon, and we've got to do better in getting out the vote and trying to persuade people in those hard-to-reach areas like the Canyon. Now, my opponent, John Moorlach, I won't go into too much detail, but it's safe to say he's one of the most extreme members of the state legislature. He has an A rating from the NRA, a 0% rating from Planned Parenthood, an F rating from the Sierra Club. He is one of the country's leading anti-vaxxers who has compared vaccination requirements with totalitarianism. He's tried to get rid of vaccinations in our schools, in our preschools, in our doctor's offices. He is also a climate change denier who has said he does not expect to see significant temperature changes in the next 100 years. and does not believe that the evidence shows that humans have had an impact on climate. So this is someone who needs to go. He is out there with the Looney Tunes wing of the Republican Party, and we can beat him. That's the message. So we need your help, and so here are some of the ways we can help. We're doing a lot of the same things you guys are doing. And first of all, thank you all for your support to date. You've been doing a lot for us, I know, as far as postcarding, as far as joining our activities, and of course, your monetary contributions are greatly, greatly appreciated. We have at this point done something like 45 virtual house parties. If you're ever interested in hosting one, it is a lot easier than hosting a real party. You don't have to open up your home, you don't have to clean, and you don't have to offer up any appetizers or beverages. Just invite your friends, we take care of the rest. If you're willing to donate to us, we need your help. We have a postcarding program right now that has filled out over 15,000 postcards. We're trying to get, at this point, maybe to 30,000. I don't know where we'll end up, but if you're willing to write postcards, let us know. We have contact-free hubs that you can pick up postcards at. And who's got our Lake Forest hub right now? I'm trying to remember.
Melora has it.
Melora Pluckner has our Lake Forest hub, so you can go pick up your materials from her. We also have yard signs out there. And then because we're not going to be canvassing this year, almost certainly, text banking and phone banking are going to be much more important. So if you're willing to help us out with those. So far, we've been doing a number of substantive, like one-on-one dialogues and sessions every Monday evening. We call them Mondays with Men. They're broadcast on Facebook Live. Starting in September, we're going to transition these to Mobilizing with Men. And these will be a chance to try to work together over Zoom to do some outreach. So we need your help. That's the message. Thank you very much for your support. We can win this race. The signs are all there. The numbers are strong. But of course, we know that in the era of COVID, with all the monkey business that's going on with the U.S. Postal Service, there are some significant headwinds we have to overcome to make sure that we win this election.
Okay.
Dave, we're almost out of time, but we have time, I think, for one question. And it's how are you going to handle the loss of revenue for the state budget due to COVID?
Yeah, that's a really important question. So I've pushed for what I believe is a better solution, COVID-19 type bond. I think the important thing right now, and I hate to sound like a liberal, the fiscally responsible thing to do is to make sure we don't cut back significantly on government services and programs right now. That is how a severe downturn became the Great Depression one in the 1930s. When you pull back on government spending at the same time the private sector is pulling back hard, you put millions more people on unemployment. That is how you just create a decade-long catastrophe. We cannot do that. That is a consensus of all the responsible economists out right there right now. We hopefully will get some federal help early next year when Joe Biden takes office. But barring that, or in addition to that, we need to make sure we have the revenue sources right now to be able to get through the next couple of years. This is going to be a 2 to 3 year cycle, even if we start managing this responsibly at this point. COVID-19 is here in the United States, and it's going to be here more severely and longer than in other countries, in my view, because of how badly we've handled it to date. That means the budget impacts will be dire for the next 2 to 3 years. We should not sugarcoat this. This is a 2 to 3 year window that we have to get through. I've been calling this my biblical rule of fiscal budgeting, but you know, the Bible lays it out for us: 7 years of feast, 7 years of famine. Right now, we're in the worst famine we've ever faced. We need to borrow against the future. When we're good times again in that feast period, that's when we pay it back, and we've got to make sure we pay it back. But right now, we just need to get through this with minimal economic damage. Now, my opponent, John Moorlach, has blamed this downturn on Gavin Newsom's quote-unquote liberal policies. That's nonsense. This is a downturn obviously caused by COVID. We have to recognize the causes. We have to get through this. We had a $22 billion surplus last year. If we get our economy back on track, we are very much in fundamentally good shape to pay this down, but we cannot let our economy wither right now. That has got to be priority number one for any state elected officials.
Dave, thank you. We have questions that there weren't time for you to answer.
I'm so sorry. I talked too much.
No. There's really more than you would have had time to answer. If we send them to you in an email, would you be able to?
Yeah, and I could start answering them on the chat if that's okay. I don't mean to take
Sure.
away from Melissa.
Sure. Some of them aren't on the chat because they were submitted in advance, but
yeah, please email
I'll see if I can get them on.
I'll write it down right now. It's dave@davemin.com, and feel free to send me an email if you have any questions. I would be delighted to respond to you. And really, again, thank you all for your engagement, not just on my campaign, but on all things blue right now. It's so important, as we're seeing. Science is important. Data, just fundamentally being a good person matters right now. And we are just in such a sea change time. We have to fight to reclaim our country.
Dave, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming, and we appreciate it. So, Melissa, are you ready?
I am unmuted and ready. Thank you so much, Annie, and thank you, Canyon Dems. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. You guys are such a great club and so amazing. The South Orange County clubs were my home when I lived in Lake Forest, and there were, I think, 25 of us maybe at a packed meeting with Gary Kepkart, right, Gary? Out on the barbecue patio, hanging out, just trying to figure out what we could get going here. And now look where we're at. It's so exciting to see this club. And not just a club that gets together to talk about issues, but really has such a great action plan. And you guys are amazing. So, right, the most important thing that we're facing right now is the COVID-19 pandemic that has killed 150,000 people in the United States. It looks like it may hit as many as 300,000, and it has sickened millions. And the economic crisis that this has caused is uppermost, in our thoughts, in the work that we're doing, and the outreach that we're doing right now. And so, for the foreseeable future, the primary role of government, national, state, local, so city council up in Sacramento, has to be stopping the spread of the disease and providing treatment and support to those who have become ill. And the treatment and support and stopping the spread has to be done according to scientific protocols, right? In addition, we must help people and small businesses survive. The pandemic has had a devastating impact on our economy. And our help must include financial assistance to workers who've lost their jobs, families that need to stay in their homes. We are facing a potential tsunami of evictions. I get contacted by people on a daily basis in my many roles about their fear of losing their housing. And small businesses are struggling to keep their doors open and keep their people employed. And that has to be primary on all that we're doing. Now, when the pandemic subsides, the primary focus of government must then be on helping families recover their financial stability, helping students recover their lost educational opportunities, and making sure that small businesses, those that energize our community, recover their vibrancy. So that is overall what we need to do, right? Now, I have had as a priority, the housing crisis has always been top of my list. The work that I've done on the city council level has been to lobby for extensions of exemptions, homeowner exemptions, and trying to build more affordable housing, land trust housing. So we have to do this on steroids because we started with a housing crisis. Now we're going to be facing so many people who are in fear of evictions and who will be evicted, and pictures of families and their goods on the sidewalk are going to be hitting the headlines so soon. And in Sacramento, we have the ability to build more housing, and that has been a focus. Now, Dave talked a little bit about, budgeting and priorities. So some of the practical things that I'm working on now that I hope to take to the next step when I'm up in the assembly is leveraging federal funds, so federal tax dollars and credits, so that we're using smaller amounts of state tax credits. And so there's new legislation that has been passed. So if you're using a percentage, say 10% state tax credits, you're going to be able to get 40% federal tax credits. And that is going to maximize federal dollars that are going to be put in place under the current legislation. And so not only are we building housing for people, but we're also building housing using prevailing wage jobs. So we're going to be creating jobs and really leaning on our federal dollars. And that's what's in place right now. I mean, we're hoping that we'll be working on adding additional supports from the state. And hopefully, if we can get Joe Biden elected with Kamala Harris, hopefully with additional federal support. So that's what I'm working on now. And tax credits, and before TCAC, which is the Taxing Credit Allocation Authority in California. At the same time that we're facing this pandemic and crushing economic realities, we cannot forget about climate change. We cannot drop the ball. We're out of time, right? And the district that I will be representing, the 68th, is bounded by wildland-urban interface. And we have to address the never-ending fire season. One wildfire can put into the air carbon equal or greater than all of the work we've done in lowering emissions from cars. And so that is a critical piece that we have to tackle. It's specific to this district. Now, we've been looking at this in areas like the Paradise Fire in Northern California, and I was up in Sacramento and I attended the hearings on the electrical grid and wildfire task force. I'll tell you, they're focused on Northern California issues, which is primarily growth, right? So they have thicker forests. What we're looking at is, while we have forests, most of those are federal lands. What we're looking at in wildland-urban interface is grasses. And so we need to have grants to change our grasses, which burn very quickly, that beautiful mustard on the hill, into native plants, which are less combustible, and they survive. They're much more drought tolerant, and it is safer for our environment. In addition to edge hardening. And what that means is that your homes are just less flammable. And that is also more prevailing wage construction jobs. So it's going to be able to focus on climate change, build infrastructure, and have real practical investment in our communities that will help to address climate change. We really have to. I mean, this is just one example. There's so much that we need to do. Okay, so I'll tell you, so a little bit update. Well, let me tell you what I'm working on briefly. I've got so many little notes about what I want to tell you. So quickly, Choi is up there with Moorlach. He and Moorlach were outside the Capitol with those anti-vaxxers. I walked up to both of them and went, I see you. They were totally supporting those guys. Choi is also a racist. He has said that Muslims are not fit for any public office. Unbelievable. He's the guy who had Nancy Pelosi as a fascist in Stalin's face on his jacket and walked through the Truman dinner about 10 years ago. His contributions are big pharma, big banks, oil, tobacco, right? So he's got to go. And we've been working hard on that. We had a great event last week at Pep Rally, and I know some of your club members were there. It was great, and it was moving. It was wonderful. We looked at clips from past conventions. We're getting psyched to do the work for this election. It was also really sobering. We had Congressman Ted Lieu talk to us about, and he said, no matter what happens, we're not going to be able to get the funds back to the post office to fix this dismantling. He said, we got to be real. So we've got to get out there and do everything that you talked about, you know, getting people to put their ballots in the ballot boxes, you know, and to do it immediately, right? He said, as a matter of fact, you can't put anything in the mail after October 20th. I mean, I would say to be careful, not after October 15th, right? Get them in the ballot boxes. Really, really key. Now, very sobering. On the other, we also had a tribute. We played a tribute at our pep rally by the UAW to John Lewis. And if you think about what John Lewis faced when he was trying to get residents of Alabama to the ballot box, facing fire hoses and batons and jails, we can face this, Cheeto, and we can get our ballots in the box, right? We can do that. We have the script, we have the organization, and we have you, which is the secret weapon. And so we'll be relying on you, and our teams are all going to be working to get those votes in. So a little bit about what I'm working on, especially for Lake Forest residents. The music facility, the farm, is scheduled for a $350 million upgrade from the county. Upgrade, who knows what it is. It's supposed to house 900 inmates who need mental health services. Those services are to be provided by correctional officers. Now, yeah, people don't get better in jail when they don't have, you know, doctors and medicine and treatment and therapists. They get correctional officers. So that what this is just a big money grab. So I'm going to be putting a forum together. I want to throw that in as a council member to stop this shady move by the sheriff to just grab funds. Those are community funds dedicated to mental health and community needs. And we need to get that into the community to the members who need it. So, and obviously I plan on working on this in the assembly. I mean, mental health resources have been so key in homelessness and combating homelessness, combating poverty. Those are things that I want to work on. I will continue my work from City Council up in Sacramento, and we're going to give you the information about music because this is crazy. Yeah. So, okay. Talked about that. Oh, and let me just tell you about the infrastructure on the campaign. We've raised over $900,000 to date. Thank you so much for the contributions from this club. It means so much to me. I got the check today. I was so excited. Thank you. So we've seen registration in my district move. When I first jumped in this race, it was almost 7% Republican, right? And so I raised that $900,000, not because I'm so amazing, but because I, as a Democrat, and our values as Democrats better represent this district than Steven Choi's anti-vax, big pharma, pro-gun agenda, right? So we've seen that in the registration. So right now, we are 1,319 voters away from being a Democratic district. That's crazy. That is just crazy. It is less than 0.5% from being blue. So it is, you know, basically a toss-up. And we got a poll. Sacramento's been great. We got a poll back that said that if we get our message out there, and frankly, we got 36 pieces coming, so our message is going to get out there. We win by 8 points. And so that's amazing. And Sacramento has absolutely targeted us, and they've sent down Susan McIntyre from the Assembly Dems, and we're getting staff coming in next week. Liz Hess from Assemblymember Cooley's office is going to be assigned to our campaign. We're really excited. We've been in close contact. We have our script. We have our phone banks unrolling tomorrow. We're doing texting. We're doing phone banking. And, you know, frankly, we really need a lot of help in Lake Forest. So we're going to look to you if you could send us, give us a couple of your nights in between now and the election. We have our Monday night volunteer meetings, which are awesome. We had Sarah Jekyll at the last meeting speak to us. She's from Field Team 6. She was so motivating. 8/26, we have a fundraiser coming up, Irish Pub Night. And Terry Casey, who's a longtime friend of mine, will be singing. He's the lead singer of the Fenians. So, and that's hosted by the Aikens. Look, I know you guys are amazing. You're activists. I know you probably got a lot of things going. You're going to do your own phone banking, but I have a couple things to ask you. We really need help with something called our mail tree. We need to know when you've received a piece of mail or you've seen a digital ad or a TV ad related to the 68th Assembly District. If you could text us or email us, because the post office is so janky right now. I mean, we've taken mail to get like 12 days to get up north to Sacramento and back when we mail our checks in. And it's supposed to be prioritized, but we just don't know. And then on top of that, Facebook is also slowing down promotions. So I know when we've had an event, we've seen the promotion for the event 4 days after the event. So we need to know all of this. And if you can help us with that, we would be really grateful. And in particular, I'll tell you, Lake Forest is really, really tough for us to penetrate. I've maybe only got a handful of people that I know really well who are active and able to send mail pieces. So if you guys could help, we'd appreciate it. In addition, help us get our message out. An easy way is like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. And, you know, that's true for every Dem. We need it. And the Fenians are absolutely great. And Terry's a really long-time friend. We've known him for decades. So I hope you have questions. I didn't want to talk too long. So.
Well, Melissa, there are questions. Maybe we have time for one because we're a little bit short on time here. It's
that wasn't 15 minutes. Was I too long? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It was interesting hearing you talk, and that's so valuable too. Okay, it's a three-pronged question, and it's, what are your top legislative priorities? What changes would you like to see? And what policies would you like to continue or protect?
Holy moly.
I know.
Right? Well, I'll tell you right off the bat. I mean, we talked about affordable housing. We talked about climate change. And water is tremendously important to me. But I'll tell you, one of the pieces of legislation that I have drafted and ready to go is that UCs cannot contract with medical associations that do not offer the entire array of women's health choices and that do not provide IVF to LGBTQ couples, and that does not allow or fully provide all options for advanced directives. That is one of the first pieces that's written and ready to go. Right. And we're also, I have a number of pieces from the land trust that we're working on for affordable housing, and that all has to do with tax credits. I have a consumer bill regarding aftermarket adoptions for vehicles. So, and you know what, if you have, my focus are going to be on healthcare, affordable housing, education, climate change. Specific bills, we're working with a number of unions in particular for healthcare and for education. So those are the things that I'm working on, but it also depends what committees I'm going to be able to be on. But I'll tell you one thing that I know full well from my time as an elected. I can't do a thing by myself. I need to have stakeholders. So when the anti-vaxxers are up there screaming about how you can't enforce vaccinations in schools, we need help. When I am bringing my legislation to say that UCs cannot use our tax dollars to discriminate against women's health choices and to restrict their care, I need your help. So we need our stakeholders, but most importantly, I need the people who live in the district to come forward with pieces of legislation that they support and to put their names on. Because, you cannot just rule by fiat, and because for every piece of legislation, for every resolution for everything that you do, there's another side. And so you have to be able to be a point of rallying to bring the issues of your district forward. And I know that climate change is super important. For example, Cotty Petrie Normus was able to get over $5 million just for GIS mapping from fixed wing aircraft. And so what that means practically is that they put out a fire in Quail Hill, not put out, but contained within an hour. And that could have easily, taken out all of Quail Hill, gone over into Newport Coast. And so that little piece has to be supported and trumpeted by Orange County Fire Authority. And certainly I expect that it will. We have had, when we have had town halls related to fire and in Orange Park Acres and in Lake Forest, it has been very much community need. But what I need is support from you on the issues that I'm getting elected on, right? And I think that we need a mandate at the box, right? I think we're going to get that. Against Choi's agenda and in favor of our Democratic agenda. But at any time, my office is and will continue to be open for needs for the community directly.
Melissa, thank you so much. It was so interesting hearing what you had to say. Thank you for coming. Scott, are you ready? Scott?
Yeah, I am. There I am.
Wait, there you are.
Hey, hello, Democrats, and especially hello, Canyon Democrats. It's like being home. I love you people. You're my home club. I would be amiss if I didn't do a major shout out to the fact that 100 years ago, my sisters got the vote. What took you so damn long? Okay? Keep it up. We need you out there. Your vote matters. You guys are the majority and you move this nation. So, and hopefully help move this election in the 73rd. I wanted to thank you for your support, your endorsement, and also for your donation. Those really help us. And before getting into too much about some things, I'd like to just give you a bit of a review of where we are in the race. The state of the race is pretty much phenomenal, folks. Who would have thunk it back in February as a white old straight guy running in an R+10 district would actually end up looking like it's a toss-up and hearing words like it's the sleeper race of the year, and to have none other than Bill Wong, the political director of the California Assembly Democrats, tweet out, "It's flippable. Chip in, make a donation to this campaign," which he did about a week and a half ago. So we're getting a lot of attention. We know we are in this, which is a very, very amazing, but not so much if you consider how we did it. And it's because of clubs like the support we got and are getting from clubs like you. My incredible team, one of whom, our Director of Volunteers, is a member of Canyon Dems, Marty Lebetkin. I'm going to give you a big shout out, my dear. I love you to the ends of the earth. Our political director and field director is Linda May, who had crafted an incredible filled up for the primary and has done so for the general, which is leading us down this path. So there's a lot of great things happening and we're very excited. And there's some reasons for this, all right? When you look at the leadership we have at the federal level, we got a little despot who's trying very desperately to walk us into a fascist state. And unfortunately, and you know this to be true, at the local level here in Orange County, we have Republican politicians who either acquiesce or openly support this Trumpian agenda. And I don't know about you folks, but they don't speak for me, and I'm sure they don't speak for you. And what we're finding out in our contact with voters throughout the 73rd is there are Republicans who have grown tired of this. We have got some Republican support. we're getting great support from the no preference voters, no party preference. Now we just got to get a kick in the butt to those low propensity Democrats and get them out to vote. And that's where you come in, and that's where your donation come in, and that's where your support has all come in. Our message resonates because people are tired of what we've seen. We're tired of this being a nation of hate, division, bitterness, ugliness, and policy by tweets. And we're tired of our local politicians, including my opponent, being silent when Trump puts out his ugliness, his meanness, and his cruelty. That's why we're being successful in this race. And that's why we'll continue to be successful. Our message about protecting the coastlines from offshore oil drilling, stopping fracking, enhanced Medicare for all. And that's resonating because of COVID-19. Many people who you have heard before say, oh, I do not want to lose my employer-based health insurance. Well, guess what, folks? When you were laid off or furloughed, you lost it. Now, I talk to my union sisters and brothers, and they're hurting. You talk to people who are working in grocery stores part-time. They're hurting and they're afraid. And so that message resonates. Another message that resonates is we need real affordable housing in the 73rd. I have kids that cannot afford to buy a home in the county in which they live. They're trapped into never-ending leases because they can't save up the money for a down payment. We do need affordable housing, but we need true affordable housing. And as a person who has a background in real estate, I'm going to tell you one of the things that we have to address is this notion of highest and best use. The only thing that highest and best works for is the big developers here in Orange County who pretty much own the Board of Supervisors and many city councils, who get rubber stamped on every development that they want, no matter how much it destroys our environment or our open spaces. So that message resonates with the voters here in the 73rd, across party lines. And one of the other reasons that we're being successful and our message is resonating is because we support equality and equity for all. And in this, when you're hearing so much ugliness come from the federal level and work its way down through the state to the local level, people say enough is enough. This is the United States of America, and it crosses all party lines. So those are some of the reasons our campaign has moved in the direction it has. And I want to encourage you to stay with us. It's hard. It is a difficult race. It's hard when you're having to do a lot of Zooming, when you really like to get out and knock on doors, talk to the people face to face and make those connections. So in that spirit of asking for your help, I'd like to run a little premiere of a video, and we're premiering it here for my Canyon Dim Home Club. So if you don't mind, I'm going to pull it up. It runs about a minute and 15 seconds, okay? I'm going to put my cheaters on. This is almost like the convention. It's that break for a movie. Here we go.
I think you need to share your screen, Scott.
Yeah, it takes me, mine is in Dropbox, and it takes
there
me
you
a little.
go. There you go.
Let me just get the sound going, because I want you to have sound. Can you hear the sound?
Not yet. It's great even without the sound, Scott. Bravo.
I don't know. I hope you heard the music because I sure did.
Oh, good.
You didn't?
I don't know about everybody, Scott. It may be because I'm hosting. I didn't get it, but that's fine. Don't worry about it.
I really apologize because that music rocked. Anyway, that is, we'll be going out. And what we'll be doing also is at some points in that, we will be inserting interviews with me, talking about key issues. And so we're really, oh, my cheaters. Thank you, Bobby. Take my cheaters off. As you can tell, we're pulling out all the stops to win this 73rd Assembly race because there are things that we need to accomplish up there. Both Melissa and Dave really hearkened upon it. This is not something that's going to be done in 2 weeks. Even if we get the vaccine for COVID, we're going to be dealing with the economic fallout from COVID for years, and maybe even up to a decade, I've heard, but at least for a couple of years. So that's why we got a good start tonight. You see where Joe got his nomination. And so we're getting up, we're ready, we're united. We're going to go out there and fight, not just on the federal level. Let's fight, start at the bottom and work it up. I'm so glad to hear you say that. Bottom up, because that's how we change things. That's how we manifest the change that the people in this district and throughout the state and the nation are so wanting to have. We're tired of the hate. We're tired of the divisiveness. We're tired of the cruelty. So folks, let's get out there, raise hell, and win this thing. Thank you, my friends.
Scott, we have time for a question. One question? Okay.
Yes.
It's the member posted to all three candidates. And so it's how are you going to handle the loss of revenue for the state budget due to the COVID?
Oh, well, actually, Dave kind of responded to that quite well. We do have to have new revenue sources. And, I'm a progressive and I'm proud of it. And there have been folks in this country, in this state, and in this nation that have been given a free ride that are not paying their fair share. And so both on the federal level, cutting back on some of those tremendous tax breaks that our little despot gave to his 1%ers, cutting back on that would be a great source. And here in California, we have businesses that have been getting and profiting very well. And they could pay a greater share to help us out. I do not want to see the burden shifted to the poor, the working poor. They're carrying enough weight right now. They're losing their homes, they're losing their small businesses. It's time for those that have benefited greatly to pay a greater share. That's my response.
Thank you. We have time for another question. It's that three-pronged question. What are your legislative priorities? What changes would you like to see? And what policies would you like to continue?
Okay. This is going to sound somewhat repetitious, but I think in my district, I know global warming is a big issue with our coastline and our bluffs and our wetlands. That will be a priority for me. And again, folks, I'm setting these out in the context of what's happening with COVID. So please be aware of that. Again, the only way that we can address homelessness, which is a big issue, is we have to have housing, and we have to have affordable housing, real affordable housing. And we need to go to the developers and say, highest and best use means building small, affordable homes that first-time homes, if you will, that people can actually move into and afford on one salary. and then build from there. It's also about transitioning folks who are homeless from shelters. Shelters are not the answer. Housing is. Transitional housing, small houses. That's a key issue for me. We need to do something with the homeless situation in our state, in our county and district. And again, healthcare. Healthcare, folks. Healthcare is a public health issue. It's an economic issue. It's a social justice issue. And, you know, don't get caught into the trap about affordable healthcare. If you can't afford affordable, you don't have healthcare. It's that, and that's why I'm a big supporter of universal healthcare coverage through an enhanced Medicare system. And if the federal government will not do it, then I think the 5th largest economy in the world, California, should be able to address it in a forthright, transparent, and fundable manner.
Thank you so much, Scott. On behalf of the Canyon Democrats, thank you, Scott, Melissa, and Dave. And I think that we are very lucky to have candidates of your caliber. So thank you so much for giving us your time tonight.
Thank you, guys. Love you all.
Well, I am thoroughly impressed, and I hope all of you are. And you need to give these candidates your support, your time, and your money. You know, I was having a discussion with somebody and they said, well, I don't have very much money to give. And I pointed out that every little drop that gets into a bucket helps to fill it. So whether you're gonna give a big drop or a little drop, give. And you can go to our website. We're gonna have information about all of our endorsed candidates. There are links to their websites and you can donate on all of their websites. So thank you to all of our candidates. Okay, Kathy, would you like to talk about our small business group? Kathy, I saw you, Kathy. I know you're there.
Oh.
Are you unmuted? Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, somebody unmuted me for me because I forgot.
Wasn't me.
Okay, yes, we are a small group, but again, just like last month, we actually got a new member. It is someone who leads hiking, trekking type of expeditions. And so if you look at the website, the canyondems.org/shop local, you will find his listing and a link to his website. And he's hiking in places like southern France, in Crete, in Nepal. So very, very impressive. I mean, these aren't like little teeny walks across the countryside. These include some mountains and cliff sides and things like that. So it sounds very exciting. Slow and steady, as I say, we're sort of like the little train that was chugging up the mountain. I think I can, we're getting there. You know, we're really starting to grow our businesses. And I think I'm gonna have to start talking to people about, hey, well, as soon as we all get back together in a room where we're all together, then all of these small business owners can say, look, I'm the person who can make this, or take you here, or sell you this. So go ahead and give people some, you know, some love. Take a look at their things. And like I said, if you need a key, a locksmith, we've got one. If you need a realtor, we've got one. So there you go. That's me.
Thank you. Okay. Janet Henry has been working so hard on all of our candidates. And thank you all for approving the 2 new people from RSM tonight on our consent calendar. Janet, take it away.
Well, we are having a great season. As you can see, we just heard from 3 of the candidates that our club has been very active and involved in. And now we're getting down to some very local people here. So we have some very good news for Susie. Susie is running for school board, but luckily nobody challenged her, so she doesn't even have to run a campaign. So that's really good for her. And we're glad that she's going to be there on the school board for all of the children. And now Ed Wong, he is an incumbent. He's running again. And unfortunately, he has been challenged, and we are really going to have to work hard for Ed. This is an interesting challenger. It's a woman, Trisha Yee, but the interesting part is she does have children, but they do not go to public school. So this is an anti-public school person that wants a voice there. So we need to make sure that Ed, who is very, very much involved in students and reading, and he's going to speak to us next month. So we're going to continue to support him. And then we have a new person. Well, we've heard this name, Pauline Hale. She's been running now for about a year. She knew right out of the chute this was something that she really needed to do. And it was kind of along the line. She had kind of heard what was going on with the city council in terms of the election, couldn't quite get a handle on it. That isn't what really inspired her, though. She'd been going to the city council meetings, hearing what was going on, not feeling she was getting the full story on certain things. So she has a very solid campaign. But the problem with our cities is name recognition. And these people have been entrenched in these roles. Many of them have grown up in these cities. They've had other roles in the city, so they hear a name and they just keep checking the box and checking the box. So we need to really work with Pauline and help her out and get out the message. And then you tonight just voted for us to support Beth Schwartz, and she's going to have the same problem. She is a new name, and we've got same names here, so we need to help her. And then the second one, John Christopoulos. So we've got a full slate, and if anything else pops up, we will let you know, although it is getting very late, because we want to be able to give out our money and be judicious about that and put names on all of the postcards that are going out. So we'll kind of keep our ears open. We've talked with every Dem who is running. We've contacted every single person. And if you don't see anybody that we've recommended, they still don't have their campaign together. They've got a good heart, they've got some good ideas, but they're still not getting their traction going. So we'll keep you posted on that and keep looking for these folks and support them in your city. Thank you. And I want to thank everyone on the board. This has been a real, effort by many, many people who have made different phone calls and contacted different people. So it's really all the way down to Ken, who had to write out all the checks and mail all the checks, write the letters that went with it. So there's a lot of work that has gone into it, and I want to thank everyone that's helped.
Okay, and we're not done yet. We're going to write some more checks. So
yes, that's
month.
Right.
Next month.
Yes.
So
yes.
Come to the meeting next month.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the list of the people that we have supported. It's just another way of showing it. So we've been very busy.
Yes. Yeah. So notice down there. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I just noticed Jose Vergara. I think that sometimes we don't notice. We kind of gloss over that. That's a really good thing because he is a Dem. He's unopposed, and so we're going to keep him in there. So that was good for Jose.
Okay, Marty. Are you there, Marty?
I'm here. So fundraising has become something quite different in the age of COVID-19, but thanks to all of our wonderful members, we are still raising money. So as of this moment, our sustaining donor program, which was the brainchild of our wonderful Walt Lawson, we've raised $7,338 as of now. Our goal for the year is $12,000. I think we're going to make it without any trouble. Now I can't see because somebody put something up there. So we have 43 members who are sustaining donors. They write a recurring check or they have Act Blue taken out. So it's every month they contribute a little bit. And then 18 people have just written one check and called it a day. So we thank all of those people and we invite all of you to sign up. Even $5 a month helps, or just, you know, whatever you can manage, in addition to supporting all of the candidates and everything. I know everybody's got their hand out, but this is how we support candidates and how we get them elected. So we appreciate our sustaining donors. We also have some other fundraising. I like that, fundraising. One of the things we're doing is our car parades. Our next car parade actually will be on Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. That's the 6th of September. We have a really good time driving around our district and honking our horns. For a donation of $50, we will drive by the house. We put a sign up. We hand make a sign for each one of our people. And since it's Labor Day, you might want to honor a union member, or we can also do back to school if you've got kids going back to school or grandkids going back to school. Or, you know, Labor Day is a patriotic day if you want to honor a veteran, or anybody that you just want to give a smile to. We will drive by their house and make a big commotion, and their neighbors come out and they'll feel very special. Then the other thing that you saw in the previous slide was our trunk or treat. We're going to be doing this for Halloween. This is for both adults and kids. As I mentioned last time, we're not doing our O'Neill brunch this year for reasons of the pandemic. So all of those of you who were lovely enough to donate a bottle of wine last year, if you'd like to donate a bottle of wine to our trunk or treat, that will be our surprise for our adult winners of the trunk or treat. And then we will also have crayons and coloring books and treats and stuff for the kids. So if your kids aren't going to be able to go out trick-or-treating this year, and I don't know that anybody will, trunk or treat is a good alternative. Then we're also going to do a visit from Santa. The Kleckners have a really nice pickup truck with a big bed in the back. We've got a rocking chair that we can install there, and Santa can come by and say hi to your kids or your grandkids. And again, there will be presents involved in that. So there will be a little something, and they can talk at a socially distanced, in a socially distanced way to Santa Claus and let Santa know what they would like to have for Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate at that time of the year. So those are two things that are coming up. The dates will be probably announced next month. But in the meantime, the car parade for Labor Day Sunday is the next thing on our list. So go to the website, probably tomorrow or the next day, the sign up will be up for that. So thank you for supporting all of the things we're trying to do. You can see by the candidates that we've been able to support how important all of this money is that we're raising. So thank you one and all.
Okay, Ann, are you there? Ann Owens?
Muting, sure. And mute.
That's okay.
All righty, so we have, our membership is still growing. We're getting close to my $400 goal of $391. So they're still trickling in every week. So if you know of anybody, still pass the word around that we are taking memberships. And you can see, according to this, that we're broken up into congressional district and assembly district. And we also have 366 Democrats, 20 MPPs, 2 Republicans. Yes, we do take Republicans, and 3 that are not registered. So doing a very good job. And move on. So We still have our shop going, and we have a new vote mask. So we have a new vote mask. A lot of you wanted something that was a little less political, and this is really cute. It is black. We listened to your input, and we have adjustable ear thingies here. We have a little bead that you can pull it up and make it smaller or larger. We've also increased the size of from the nose to the chin, because some people were telling us it was a little short. So these fit really great. And you can wear this. I was in Ralph's today. I was wearing this mask. The lady that was checking me out commented on my mask. So it's a really good way to remind people to vote. And I said to her, vote early.
Yeah.
We also are ordering our Biden-Harris. We have rally signs
that can go in a window.
12 by 18. You can put them in your window, or you can put them in your car, sidecar window. They're going to be $5. We have bumper stickers that are $2, and we have buttons that we're selling as a set. Elect Biden-Harris and Joe Has My Back. And those two buttons will be, the set will be $5. They should be here in about a week. So please check our website because as soon as they're here, we will put them up, and you can order them and I will take your order. We can do porch pickup, or I can deliver.
And I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Kathy.
When I saw, I was looking last week because I wanted to see, because I knew you were coming up with a new mask for vote.
Right.
Is you have sizes listed on there, small, medium, large, and I didn't know how to figure out what size to order.
I ordered a medium. It worked for me.
Yeah, I mean, the one I'm wearing is a medium. If you have, I've got a pretty narrow face. If you have a wider face, you might want to get a large, because as I say, the earpieces are adjustable, so you can always tighten it up.
Okay, yeah.
If it, okay, yeah. Okay.
Okay, and not available today, but this is off the presses, literally. I got the pictures of the buttons this afternoon.
Can I just add, we also have jewelry. We all don't forget.
We still have all the other things. These are just the new things.
We still have all the other things. We have jewelry. We have all the other masks.
T-shirts, water bottles.
Donkeys on them.
Yeah.
We have water bottles. We still have all those other things there too you can buy.
Right.
So you can go in and do a big order all at once.
Right.
And this is, and the masks, I just want to say, are pure profit. So that's a really nice thing, because Jenny Golden is making all these and donating them all. So it's all pure profit when we sell them.
Right. Okay, folks.
Okay, thank you.
Here we go. We are going to have signs that you can put in your front yard or put near your house. They're not really designed to go on big arterial highways where people are going by at 80 miles an hour. But we are going to have them probably, I would say, a couple weeks, maybe a little longer. They'll be ready. They come on a metal stake that you put in, and they'll be double-sided. We cannot get all of our candidates on one sign because we've got so many. So we're going to have signs for different areas. So we'll have one area would be the Lake Forest, Foothill Ranch, Portola Hills area. That would have Melissa on it. And then area 2 would be Mission Viejo and Laguna Hills. And then area 3 would be RSM. And then the final area, and I don't know how many of these we actually need, but it would be the lower part, very lower part of Mission Viejo, down behind the mall, and Coto de Caza and Ladera Ranch. So that's the plan. And those will be $15. That covers the cost. We make just a few dollars on it, but not much because it's expensive to get them done. But since we can't knock on doors, if we put these in our front yard. I don't know about your neighborhood, but in my neighborhood, a lot of people are walking by. They're bringing their kids on their bicycles. And if you'll notice over here in the corner, there's this thing called a QR code. People can point their camera at the QR code and it will take them on their phone directly to the endorsement page of our website. So they can get all the information about these candidates because we have a picture up there of the candidates, we have their website, we have their email address, we have their campaign address, we have a blurb on them, and we have a picture of them, okay? So hopefully this, along with, we're developing a postcard, a little larger postcard, it still uses the postcard postage, that will list all of our candidates, and that's the 4,000 or so that we're going to be hand addressing and writing notes on the backside to ask people to vote early. So I hope you're excited about that. I am. It took a lot of time. The field team spent a lot of time voting on drafts that Rachel did. So this finally got 100% support from the whole field team. So it was a group effort. I have never done signs before because I always tell people signs don't vote. But this election is different. Now we're locked up. So we needed to figure ways for people to communicate their support for our ticket. And there was strong feeling among the people who worked on this that we didn't want this to be anti-Trump in any way, that we really wanted to say, we're the people who are standing up for a positive future. Okay. Andy, do you have anything to say about the Lake Forest focus group? I can't hear you, Andy.
Okay. Tonight, Lake Forest is voting on their affordable housing project, and it is 10 people actually were there to make public comments, and 50 people did voicemail. So they're reading those right now. And a lot of people sent in emails. So that's what's going on there. I'm going to continue to petition for a pride flag next year. And what else was there? Oh, the Kids Factory, that's been negotiated and they've reinstated Kids Factory, yay. And community choice, I'm still working on that. I did have a question about that with, but I got it answered. I was curious about with these shutdowns, if community choice would alleviate that problem. And I was told by someone that Margot referred me to that it does, in that it supplies, community choice energy supplies backup units, battery units for people that need that have to have it. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. And we're going to need a really active, I know they're starting to talk about this in Mission Viejo after the election. We've really got to come down hard on that city council to get voting districts. It's got to be a singular focus next year, because the reason the city council in Mission Viejo has been the way it's been for years is you have to run and vote across the whole city. If we get it down to districts, Democrats have a chance to win seats. So we have to do that. Okay, Ken. You're muted, darling. There you go.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. Good evening, Canyon Dems. Wanted to give you a kind of brief update of where we stand financially. Louise had a great idea to kind of show that there's been some work done in the August timeframe. So the numbers on our original chart were just on a July, but we've actually, by the time we got things out, the contributions went out in the beginning of this month. Now, for the candidates, I did put them through the post office. I hope that let me know if there's another method, because Beth, your numbers are included in this one. We could not send it out until we had approval from the membership.
Tonight.
So if you have a different method other than me sending you the check tomorrow, let me know. treasurer@canyondems.org. Anyway, so this number here shows that we started out July. All these numbers initially are based on our July period, because I always do the previous month. Starting at 22,481.91. Memberships, we're still pulling in memberships, and I suspect that number will start going up again as we get closer to the time period where the membership counts for your 2021 membership also, which I believe is October, and we carry over those 3 months. So $240 on that. Sustaining donations, been a rock solid money generator. Walt Lawson's starting that program, and Marty handling it now. You guys have been stellar, and it's been really rock solid. When we look at some of the other revenue generating things, the next biggest things we're having is merchandise. You guys are using the store. That's phenomenal. And the biggest item in the store is face masks. $200 in July for face masks, which water bottles, jewelry, and the car parade is even bringing in some money too. And that's going to go up because people do want to get together. We're all getting tired of where we're at. Now, we had very little expenses in July, but and so we ended the July month at $23,615.52. But as I said, we had our candidate contributions of $9,750, and we're going to add another $750. Is that correct, Louise, for John of the RSM candidate?
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that.
Okay, so
at our board meeting. But yes,
okay. So
that'll come out of the 15,000.
Okay, so that will be in the next reporting period.
Right.
This reporting period does include Beth Schwartz, because I did have her check ready.
Right.
And so we still had $1,300 worth of deposits, which are including in some of those other expenses. Ending the month, or actually the current balance is $15,193. So we're in really good shape with money to help out candidates. I, as everyone else is, I am concerned about how we are getting things through the post office, and it is delayed. And I apologize if things have not gotten there. And if when we do, if we do another round of funding, which we may do,
definitely.
I want to contact the candidates to see if there's a better approach, so they can get the money in their hands faster. So that will be something we'll work on. Okay. So I wanted to thank all of the members and the board for the support you've given me and our club, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. So our goal is to spend the money. So we have our internal things that we're printing, our signs. We need money for texting. So we're going to set aside money for that, and then we will donate the rest out to the candidates, because it doesn't do any good, doesn't change any votes sitting in our treasury.
Right.
Yeah, we're all committed to that. So please stay safe, stay healthy, stay engaged. We're all in this together, and we're going to leave the Zoom open for a while if people want to hang